Top of the day, beautiful people. Sorry, 5 minutes late. Literally, last minute business call came through. Sorry. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I mean, we only been apart for like 24 hours. But we just coming out of weekend. It's a new work week for mostly everybody. So, my little notes in here. Yeah, day 67. All right, beautiful people. It is Monday. Happy Monday. Monday, March the 28th, 2022. I'm 2022. I'm thinking the number is 24. Yeah, March the 28th, 2022. Day 67 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1085. Today, y'all, we're going to be reading Tablet T in the complete Annunaki Bible. And then we definitely gonna go ahead and make it over to my big toe today and finish up chapter 31 on page 269. All right. All right, so let's get started. So I'm running 5 minutes behind. Audrey, shalom, mom, shalom. Belinda Brown, auntie, shalom. All right, beautiful people. So may y'all give us wisdom while we continue on in our studies. Let me go ahead and jump to tablet T. All right, beautiful people. Tablet T, the book of Nabu, Tutu, and the Hermeticum. This is the book of Nabu, who is the scribe, magician, priest of the younger pantheon of gods, a tradition observed in Babylon and then in later Egypt. Nabu is a key figure, the prophet's son and heir of Marduk. It is Nabu who recorded and maintained the tablets of the Babylonian tradition in ancient times, now brought together in the current age. That should be in. I'm sorry, y'all. It has and. It should be in. All right. It is Nabu who recorded and maintained the tablets of the Babylonian tradition in ancient times, now brought together in the current age in this present Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible. Under the name and title of Tutu, which can be found listed among the 50 names and is translated as Tohudi in Egyptian systems, Nabu heralded the age and wisdom of Marduk under the discretion of his father, recorded the legacies of the gods, kept safe the secret knowledge and prayers of the Anunnaki, and also the magic of Enki, all of which could be maintained for posterity by a sacred priesthood, now known to the masses as the Necronomicon, a book of dead ancestral names and memories. The name or title of Nabu literally means he who speaks for, translated prophet or messenger herald. The Ordo Nabu Mayor Dekai, and it has reference 108, and Mayor Dekai is the Mardukite Chamberlains. The Ordo Nabu Mayor Dekai presently observes the current editor, Joshua Free, for this position in modern times, working with an active vision of the Mardukite Chamberlains known as the Council of Nabu Tutu. Sarpanit, earthling spouse of Marduk and mother to Nabu, is rarely given respect as the way to her husband's ear and favor in the traditionally understood pantheon, but Nabu, being half divine, directly the son of Marduk, was given a position and ranking among the younger Anunnaki after the rise to supremacy of Marduk, recognized in recognized in Egypto-Babylonian lore, who then required a legal heir, Nabu, in charge of his own gate. Tablet A reads, quote, Nabu, royal son of Marduk and Sarpanit, firstborn heir to Marduk, given the secrets of writing and wisdom. He is the messenger Mercurios of Marduk and organizer of the Marduk tribes, counselor to the prophets of Marduk. In Egypt, he is Thoth the younger, brother to Satu, who the Egyptians named Seth. Nabu is the Mamu of Marduk on earth, the numerical designation of 12. In the invocation of the Nabu gate, found on tablet B, Nabu is given the title caretaker of the tablet of destiny and spirit of Babylon, supporting the functions described in the lore of his work and ministry among the people, particularly while Marduk was denied reign by the Annunaki and imprisoned alive in the Great Pyramid. According to the Babylon text used by priests, Nabu was represented by the messenger planet Mercury, Merku, and the color blue. The Book of 50 Names, Tablet F, lists Tutu as the 13th name of Marduk, the one of which is brought forth anew. All right, so now it starts. The first tablet of Nabu, origins of the Hermetic tradition. Zoe Shalom, Batwabu. Okay, and so Nabu indicated as I went to the mountain pyramid to hear the voice of the great God come from the mountain, the unseen God whose vision and voice comes to the prophet, and the voice of Marduk came out of the mountain pyramid. I am the voice of the God who cannot be here. I am the voice of the God who is in the hearts of all men. I am the voice of the God who appears in many faces. It is I, the voice of the God, that will teach you the way. And I command you, dear son, to write this, what I say, on tablets for all of humanity's sake, that they might honor the gods of their ancestors, Annunaki, but worship the eternal source of all being and creation. I am not the I am not only the voice of your God, but also your commander. Prepare for the long and hard battle, such as lies ahead. Nabu asked Marduk, what can men do to prepare for the sake of their own lives? How can they live to serve and worship proper? And the voice of Marduk echoed out, live piously and by the union code tablet of the Anunnaki, for there is no longer any religion higher than the source. And the desire of God is for us to love one another and not to sacrifice the life which has been made possible, a certain knowledge of what is good and evil on earth, with perfected choice will be the former, so is the will of God. There is no pleasure to be gained from the wasteful shed of blood. Celebrate life and sing praises to the creation around you, which has been carefully made for you by the highest, who under the Anunnaki live and reign over the lower. And Nabu asked Marduk, but what can men do to repent of their sins if not by sacrifice? The voice of Marduk responded, give to the eternal source dedication and commitment in life, and this is all that is asked of you in this life. Men approach the face of God in fear and beg forgiveness when their efforts could be better spent in prayer and praise. Men flood the temple shrines with more food than is consumed when it could be better distributed among the poor, something later instilled by Babylonian kings. But the God of life, no more vain offerings of flesh. Now, the more I read through this, Shayla, great rise, and the more I read through this and other documents from the other side, or what we would call like the other side of religion or religious worship, right? They tell you in Christianity, not just Christianity, it just depends on where where you grew up in religion, right? When they talk about the occult or those hidden things, it seems to me that even those that are telling you to do that are really ignorant of what they're doing on the other side, because it seems to me that even they are in search and worship the creator of all, the source of all, right? They said no more of these vain, and that's something that really blew me away. No more of these vain sacrifices of flesh to the source of creation. He doesn't need that, right? All of the extra stuff you bring into the temples, this is more than what men can even eat. This would have been better distributed among the poor amongst you. Like all of these things that really make me sit back and think. I'm like, people really speak ignorantly of things they really have no understanding about, right? That's why you shouldn't leave class early. You really got to see the whole thing out, see it through all the way, right? Get the full side of each story. And everybody's lacking a little bit of information from another side, right? Okay. Let me read this again. The voice of Marduk responded, "Give to the eternal source dedication and commitment in life, and this is all that is asked for you in this life." Men approach the face of God in fear and beg forgiveness when their efforts could be better spent in prayer and praise. Men flood the temple shrines with more food than is consumed when it could be better distributed among the poor, something later instilled by Babylonian kings. Bring the God of life no more vain offerings of flesh. Pray and live a pious life at one with creation. How hard is this? Make simple rituals if it pleases you, for only prayer and devotion is asked of the God of all. Do not deny yourself a happy existence in the name of God. Never let your livelihood be neglected because you worship God, right? That sounds about right. Like people or pastors or those who preach the gospel, they neglect their family for the sake of the ministry. That's complete foolishness. Even the other side tells you don't do that. That's wrong, right? You don't forsake your family in service of worship of God and doing his service. He doesn't he never once told anybody to do that, right? Okay, this is just good, right? I'm gonna read this again. Pray and live a pious life at one with creation. How hard is this? Make simple rituals if it pleases you, for only prayer and devotion is asked of the God of all. Do not deny yourself a happy existence in the name of God. Never let your livelihood be neglected because you worship God. Right? Like you get out there and work. I need to spend all my time in prayer and devotion and praise and reading the scriptures. You better get your hind parts out here and work, but we all be living in a box under the bridge. Lives dedicated to the source are not preoccupied by worship. For to go out and live and act the pious life among men is best. All right. The second tablet of Nabu Tutu. My book keep trying to close on. I'm trying to keep it open. Okay. So I don't have to hold it the whole time. Okay. Let me sit this right here. This is plucking my nerves. Hold on, y'all. Okay, that's better. Okay, the second tablet of Nabu Tutu. All things that are moved. Only that which is not is unmovable. Everybody is changeable. Not everybody is able to be dissolved into elements. Some bodies are able to be dissolved into elements. Every living thing is not mortal. Not every living thing is immortal. That which may be dissolved is also corruptible. That which is eternal is unchangeable, incorruptible. That which is unchangeable is eternal. That which is always physical is always corrupted. That which is made but once is never corrupted and does not become any other thing. First, God. Second, the world. Third, man. The world for man, man for God. That that might be our title for today. First, God. Second, the world. Third, man. The world for man, man for God. Of the soul program, that part has been given as the conscience of mortals. But that which is reasonable is immortal. Every essence is immortal. Every essence is unchangeable. Everything that is doable. None of the things that are stand still. Not all things are moved by a soul program, but everything that is controlled by its own soul program. Everything that suffers is sensible. Everything that is sensible suffers. Everything that is sad is also able to rejoice and must be a mortal living creature. Not everything that is able to be joyous can also be sad. Like unto the eternal living things, not everybody can be sick. but every sick body is dissoluble. Hold on. Rita, good morning. Uncle JB. I feel kind of slow with this word. I know how to say it. Hold on. Let's look it up. Dissoluble. Hold on. DISS. Dissoluble. Dissolution. Right? Hold on. Dissoluble. It's first thing in the morning. Hold on. No. If I can get the spelling right. LUB. Right. Okay. Dissoluble. Okay. That was hard. First thing this morning. Dissoluble. Okay. Not everybody can be sick, but every sick body is dissoluble. The mind resides in the all, God. Reasoning and experience is in man. Experience becomes the reason in the mind. The mind is void of suffering. No thing in a body is true. All that is incorporeal is void of lying. Everything that is made is corruptible. Nothing good made upon the earth, nothing evil made in heaven. God is good, man is evil. God is voluntary of its own accord. Evil is involuntary or against its will. The gods choose good things as good things. Time is a divine thing. Law is human. Malice is the nourishment of the material kingdom, world. Time is the corruption of man. Whatsoever is in heaven is unalterable. All upon earth is alterable. Nothing in heaven is for a charge. Nothing on earth is free. Nothing unknown in heaven. Nothing known upon earth. The things upon earth communicate not with those in heaven. All things in heaven are without blame. All things upon earth are subject to consequence. That which is immortal is not mortal. That which is mortal is not immortal. That which is sown is not always brought to fruition, but that which is manifest had always been sown. Of the perishable body, there are two times, one from sowing to generation, one from generation to death. Of everlasting body, the time is only from the generation. Perishable bodies are increased and diminished. Perishable matter is divided into contraries, as in corruption and generation, but eternal matter exists unto itself. And that's the end of the second tablet. The third tablet of Nabu Tutu. The generation of man is corruption. The corruption of man is the beginning of generation. That which offsprings or produces another is itself a product of another. Of things that are, some are in bodies, some in their ideas. Whatsoever things belong to operation or working are in a body. That which is immortal partakes not of that which is mortal. That which is mortal does not come into an immortal body, but that which is immortal can come into a mortal body. Operations or workings are not carried upwards, but descend downwards. Things upon earth do nothing to advantage of those in heaven, but all things in heaven can do profit and advantage for things upon earth. Hold on, let me read that again. I think it's an extra word in there. Operations or workings are not carried upwards, but descend downwards. Things upon earth do nothing to advantage those in heaven, but all things in heaven can do profit and advantage for the things upon earth. Heaven is capable and fit. Heaven is capable and a fit receptacle of everlasting bodies. The earth is one of corruptible bodies. The earth is brutish. The heaven is rational. Those things that are in heaven are subjected or placed under it, but the things on earth are placed over its matrix. Heaven is the first element. Providence is divine order. Necessity is the minister or servant of providence. Fortune is the vehicle or consequence of what is without order, the focus of operation, nothing more than opinionated glamour or a fantasy. Avoid all conversation, both idle and wise, with the multitudes or common people of the masses, for that which is above would not have you become either the subject of envy, much less to be considered ridiculous by the many. That was good. Hold on. Avoid all conversation, both idle and wise, with multitudes or common people of the masses, for that which is above would not have you become either the subject of envy, much less to be considered ridiculous by the many. Oh my gosh. The like have always been pulled toward themselves. That which is like such as when waters settle upon their levels. The unlike will never agree with the unlike natures. Such is the pattern of their way, such as you will find with the variegated philosophical discourses and dogmatic treatises that circulate among the masses. The unlike natures are unique in one faucet. They act as a sharpening stone for the evil tendencies in men, another vehicle for their maliciousness. Conclusively, it is better to avoid the multitudes and realize that they are not in the path of understanding the virtue and power of the things that have been said here, and concerning the nature and composition of those living things called humans. It may be simply said that they are prone to maliciousness, being something they are both familiar with and nourished by. When the world was first made, all things were in perfected accordance with providence and necessity, destiny or fate, bearing rule over all. Knowing this perfection, the mortal creatures will be the worse for it, despising the whole because it was made. And if the only power known to them is to be the evil cause of disorder upon fate or destiny, then they will never abstain from the timid then they will never abstain from the tendencies toward evil doings. And that is the end of that tablet. I told you it was really short, tablet T, but that was really good, right? And if you want to sum this up in like this whole tablet, sum it up in the words of Christians, I would say, do not cast your pearls among swine. That's exactly what this whole tablet is summing up. Do not cast your pearls among swine, right? Those you can't talk about some things with the masses of people because first of all, they don't understand, and half of them not even looking towards the path of wisdom and understanding in the first place. You're going to be wasting your time. Don't do that, right? Keep them jewels to yourself. Share them with those who are worthy to hear those truths, right? And those who are worthy to hear those truths are those who are searching for those jewels, right? All right, this is good. I love it so much. All right, y'all. That is it. Where we at? We at 24 minutes, so we'll go ahead and finish up my big toe. Chapter 31. Chapter 31. Alicia, yeah. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. I make you smile, Auntie. Oh, I'm glad I can make you smile. Okay, y'all. So we stopped on page 269. I need to remember what we was talking about. I know it's the chapter where it's like, just bear with us, right? Till we get to the end of it. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it's going into all these equations and stuff. C M / sec times delta T sec. Yeah, okay, hold on. Okay, so he's going into detail about how the earth is a virtual classroom, right? I'll read the sentence, then I'll hop over here to where we paused at, all right? Just to kind of refresh you with a sentence or two. Okay, so he said the reality in which we interact with each other is a virtual classroom or learning lab designed to help us reduce our individual entropy and grow the quality of our consciousness. As consciousness, this is what we do. That is how evolution challenges us. That many implications of our rule set await our discovery, the physics of the future, simply makes that classroom more interesting, challenging, and educational. New discoveries create better understanding as well as new opportunities to learn. Okay, now we're going to skip all the way to where we paused at on page 269. All right, y'all, hang in there, hang in there. Digital space time is implemented by a basic rule set that defines the probability criteria required to evolve the content of a given dimension. Each virtual reality with self modifying content automatically begins to evolve its own uniquely profitable configurations as its possibilities are explored. Patterns of interaction within the PMR space time subsystem would eventually evolve to contain the attributes of content, information, and substance as patterns of light, sound, and neurons within our biological systems, or as patterns of stars, comets, galaxies, and solar systems within our universe. As a direct result of the space time rule set, a few billion years ago, clumps of biological cells began a series of similar experiments in specialization. Specialized subsets of cells became the food section, digestion, the sensor section, eyes, nose, skin, ears, taste buds, the motion section, tail, fins, flippers, legs, wings, and the control section, central nervous system, the brain. Then, communication among the various specialized parts was established, followed by communication between individual entities. Thus, AUM sprouts virtual reality systems, universes, as the Earth sprouts species of plants and animals, each contained within its own dimension or piece of thought space within TBC, or TBC is the big picture, the big, the big what? I forgot what C was. TBC, hold on. The big, I forgot, y'all. TBC is the big something. TBC. Maybe the big, hold on. TBC. Oh, no, that's not that. I think the big consciousness. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it, but I'm about to stop looking for it. I'll look for it later. Okay, hold on. Thus, AM sprouts virtual reality systems, universes, as the Earth sprouts species of plants and animals, each contained in its own dimension or piece of thought space within TBC, and all on the same network. AM creates dimensions and manipulates their content similarly to how we create ideas and write them down as paragraphs of patterns of symbols. AOM's creative thoughts and use of dimension to separate specialized parts of itself is randomly comparable to our creative writing and use of paragraphs, books, or documents to separate and bound specialized chunks of content. Note that I generally do not refer to higher or lower dimensions. Higher and lower have no meaning relative to non geometrical dimensions. Dimensions and their corresponding realities are different in the same way books are different. Some may be simple or complex, some may be more or less useful to the consciousness system. However, all are specialized in response to evolutionary pressures to carry out their particular function. All specialized functions contribute to the self improvement or entropy reduction of the whole. You see, this consciousness system is not that weird or mystical and works the same way as any evolving complex system. For example, it must develop a balanced ecosystem system of relationships among its large number of interacting, interdependent parts. You now have the top level, hand waving description of the origins of space time and the nature of dimension. This is only the beginning of a more in-depth discussion that will continue through the next 3 sections and 2 books. Before long, you will appreciate space-time as a rule-based consciousness construct that constrains energy exchanges between individuated subsets of sentient consciousness as well as between sentient beings in their non-sentient environment in order to produce a specialized virtual experience where these subsets of consciousness can profitably interact, and that description will make sense. I'm just checking in with y'all, okay? We almost done with this chapter, y'all. It sound like a bunch of big words T.I. be using, right? Okay. By the end of section 4, all these scattered bits of theory will begin to pull together into high resolution big picture. Keep in mind our earlier discussion of belief and spin. The logical solidity and reasonableness of this discussion may not be the only or the major factor that leads you to your conclusions. To optimize the return on your investment, your analysis should be independent of belief based paradigms. If your approach is open minded, you will find that the evaluation process itself is usually more valuable than the final conclusions reached. Okay, so I kind of explained a little bit this last sentence. Trina, hey girl, hey. So he said, while you're doing your research and you're trying to understand all this consciousness, everything, he said you will fare way better, a whole lot better, if you keep all religion out of it. Religion has nothing to do with how we were designed, how the mind works, the things we perceive as miracles, because we don't understand the body and the nature of this place we live, right? Keep an open mind, put religion on the shelf and worship and all that stuff for the time being while you learn some actual facts about your body. A&P, if y'all never took science class or health class or anatomy and physiology, this is what he's teaching you, right? The science of the body and the brain, all of these things, right? Religion has nothing to do with it. It was there before religion even started, and it will still be here way after religion has been dissolved, right? Learn about your bodies, learn about what you are, right? Keep religion out of this. Has nothing to do with it. Who you worship has nothing to do with what's happening here on the earth. Although some people would like to make you believe it is, even if they believe it is, it's not, right? So don't get all super, like one of my previous pastors say, don't get super spiritual on me, right? Okay, I'll read this again. By the end of section 4, all these scattered bits of theory will begin to pull together into a high resolution big picture. Keep in mind our earlier discussion of belief and spin, because belief puts spins on things and you can't clearly see it if your mind is clouded with religion and religious facts or religious illusions, right? You can't get it completely. Religion clouds everything, it clouds the truth. Okay. Keep in mind our earlier discussion of belief and spin. The logical solidity and reasonableness of this discussion may not be the only or the major factor that leads you to your conclusions. To optimize the return on your investment, your analysis should be independent of belief based paradigms. If your approach is open minded, you will find that the evaluation process itself is usually more valuable than the final conclusions reached. And then it goes into this little small aside. He said, all great sages know this one big truth. You can lead a jackass to water, and if you are clever enough, induce it to drink, but you cannot make it do the backstroke or gargle and spit the water back out. I like that. We'll see if we can make that our title, but it's really kind of long. I'm gonna read that again. All great sages know this one big truth. Well, we might just make that a little caption in the community section today. Somebody be like, "Oh, she cussing." Man, shut up. All great sages know this one big truth. You can lead a jackass to water, and if you are clever enough, induce it to drink, but you cannot make it do the backstroke or gargle and spit the water back out. That is why this trilogy is strictly for open minded humans. If you see a jackass with a copy, please confiscate it immediately before he or she gets any big ideas. But please be careful. It is also well known by the great sages that a little big truth rattling about within the small mind of a jackass can be a dangerous thing. That is everything I know about common horse sense. Thus, as always, you are thus as always you are on your own at the watering hole of big truth. And that's the end of his little aside, right? Okay. Before temporarily leaving the subject of space time and ending this chapter, let's make an effort to bridge the gap between the fundamental view of the binary reality cell space time part of Aeon's consciousness and the digital systems view of the implementation of space time within TBC. Aeon, aware consciousness, and therefore space time, our physical reality, is ultimately based upon the existence of reality cells within the larger consciousness system. Equivalently, one could say that space time is a construct of consciousness. Some may be tempted to say that space time is constructed of consciousness, but that statement is likely to spread more confusion than illumination. Think of consciousness as a digital medium rather than a building material. At the root, TBC, memory, patterns, logic, and processing is conceptually based on the binary property of reality cells. Let us recap the evolutionary road from AO to AOM. AO is AUO to AOM, AUM. Primordial AO is a relatively simple, uniform, high entropy energy form that is the basic foundation of consciousness. Reality cells are created by the relative existence of this. Hold on. Reality cells are created by the relative existence of a this way and that way pair, a distorted or non-uniform existence existing in relation to a non-distorted or uniform existence. The proliferation of reality cells and the interaction between reality cells creates complexity and a greater potential for self organization that eventually leads to a more comprehensive lower entropy self awareness that in turn leads to intelligence, values, personality, and purpose. In scientific terms, a lower entropy consciousness system has more power, more energy available to do work, a higher, more useful level of organization. In common terms, a lower entropy digital system commands more usable energy, more profitable organization, and therefore becomes capable of creating greater and more profitable configurations of itself. Additionally, a lower entropy consciousness eventually develops the ability to use directed conscious intent to reduce its entropy further. The rate of evolutionary progress increases as the system pulls itself up by its bootstraps or evolves to actualize lower and lower entropy configurations. The specific nature, physics of our reality is defined by space-time rule set, which defines the constraints that limit what is possible. Hang in there, y'all. We almost done. I hope y'all understand it. Because I ain't really got too much to explain because I'm still trying to understand myself. All I know is that we should be moving towards lower entropy. Jen, shalom, Levine, blessings. Lower entropy means we're open for more information and giving us more opportunities and options to grow, right? We're increasing our intelligence, our awareness because we stop throwing up the walls, right? Higher entropy means higher walls and nothing can get through. Lower entropy means more information can flow in, more parts of the puzzle we can see and move around to its proper place. Thus, we grow more as we become lower entropy individuals, right? We reduce that entropy wall all the way down. I'm trying to put it in a way where y'all remember what entropy is. That high entropy wall needs to come down. It needs to come down so the information can flow in and we can grow. We're developing, right? And by us reading some of this extra information to go along with what we know is in the Torah, it's lowering those high walls of entropy so we can get more information, so we can make better sense of a lot of things that we've been having questions about, and nobody from the pulpit can seem to answer for us, right? They just say, wait on Jesus. He's taking too long. We need some answers. Okay. The space-time rules, hold on, I think I skipped the whole sentence. Okay. The specific nature, physics of our reality is defined by the space-time rule set, which defines the constraints that limit what is possible. The space-time rule set is a collection of patterns or algorithms within TBC that defines the limits and relational properties of our physical existence. The space-time rule set subsumes our physics. It is implemented at the lowest level by constraining the interaction between individual and groups of reality cells, and at the highest level by constraining individuated subsets of awareness. Reality cells are roughly analogous to the transistors on a computer processor chip. They come in very large numbers and are the most basic active units of the processor and memory. Like reality cells, each transistor is a thing that can be on or off, a 1 or a 0, this way or that way, distorted or undistorted. Kind of sound like my eye doctor. Which is clearer, left or right, up or down, light on, light off, right? That's what it sounds like to me. Anyway, we got hold on. We got 2.5 pages left, y'all. At the next higher level of generality is the processor's basic instruction set that defines operations and processes for storing, retrieving, and performing arithmetical and logical operations. In our analogy, the processor's basic instruction set is analogous to basic cognitive functioning with AM. At the next level of abstraction, we get to the space-time rule set, which is analogous to algorithms written in assembly language. Our experience is generated at the next higher level of abstraction by an AM TBC to individuated consciousness interface, which is analogous to a simulation program in object oriented C++, where we are the objects. AM is the computer, the programmer, and the operating system. We, sentient consciousness beings, are, as individuated subsets of consciousness, a bounded subset of highly organized, evolving, interactive reality cells. As an analog to space time, consider a custom designed special purpose processor, such as a digital signal processor DSP chip. Understanding the rules, patterns governing the transfer of energy to and from transistors in a special purpose microprocessor would provide some understanding of the most basic relationships in the processor's designs, implementation, and capability. Likewise, understanding the rules governing the transfer of information between space-time reality cells should produce some of the most fundamental relationships of physics. In section 4, you will see how that works. Physical experience is generated when the perception of an individuated consciousness or sentient being is constrained to follow the space-time rule set. Imagine a specialized space-time virtual reality trainer operating within a subset of digital calculation space called a dimension that is constrained by the space-time rule set to provide a causally consistent operational experience that enables an individuated consciousness to evolve to lower entropy states by exercising its intent through the free will choice. The specific relationships defining AM's space-time instruction set constitutes the laws of space-time physics, PMR physics. Applied mathematicians, scientists, and engineers have a tendency to define their reality in terms of its constraints expressed as physical constants. For example, c, the speed of light in a vacuum, defines the speed limit of matter in PMR. Think of c as one of the several local physical matter reality space-time constants that constrains our physical reality to a certain experience set. Likewise, it is reasonable to assume there are constants that constrain the bigger picture as well. For example, given that a finite growing digital consciousness system cannot create an infinite number of reality cells, and that the information contained within that digital consciousness system is limited by the capacity of the system, an upper limit on the total of reality cells, perhaps, then after the system's getting tongue tied. After the system's native technology has stabilized, the ratio of the size of the system to the amount of information it contains would tend toward a constant as the system matures, picturing a growing aeon where new information and new reality cells are constantly created and recycled while the entropy of the system evolves toward greater profitability by more productively using and organizing that information. We almost done, y'all. Just hang in there. Just hang in there. The point is, real finite systems must always deal with constraints, and the AM digital system thing is no exception. What does AM do when it is done? Reached capacity limitations. Being digital, it can always purge enough of its least productive bits to continue on, or purge even more than that and start over. Consider that AM may be a contributing player in a larger consciousness ecosystem. Just as we recycle subsets of our individuated consciousness through the physical matter reality learning lab to subsets of our let me just start over. Just as we recycle subsets of our individuated consciousness through the physical matter reality learning lab to help drive the consciousness cycle, AOM may recycle its own consciousness in a similar manner to drive a higher level of consciousness organization that is beyond our grasp. Almost done, y'all. AOM may regularly upload lessons learned and then recycle itself, or it may simply continue to improve itself gradually as it continually and forever moves towards an absolute zero of system entropy. In either case, we come to the same conclusion. An evolving digital dude is never done. A few low-hanging observations need to be plucked from the preceding discussions, and then we can pack it in. You ain't packed in enough? You may find it interesting to take a big picture look at the conceptual flow that is unleashed by the concept, implementation, and evolution of time. AO evolves the exceptionally useful organizational catalyst we call time by maintaining a regular beat, a constant rate of oscillation, the ability of time to sequence patterns and enforce what? The ability of time to sequence patterns and enforce consistency allows AO to create ordered, and disciplined process and thus lower its entropy. Time enables simple existence to generate complex evolutionary potential from the explosion of new patterns, sequences, and forms that suddenly become available with the invention of dynamic process. Time generates new degrees of freedom for consciousness to explore. Time allows dim consciousness to become brilliant. Order, consistency, and regularity enable the creation of precise multi frequency clocks, the big computer, and space time as individuated, specialized patterns of information and content within Aeon. Because the attributes of space time provide the logical conceptual structure for our experience of PMR, mass, energy, space, and hence biology, it is clear that our existence is enabled by the invention of time. It is time that is clear. So, hold on. It is time that allows AO to get organized to create, store, and use information interactively to evolve self aware purpose and develop proactively. The concept of time within the dim awareness of AO is a byproduct of a potential energy system finding profitability in improving its self organization, an incredibly effective engine for entropy reduction. Time becomes an evolutionary inevitability. The fundamental process could not help but find time an artifact of change on the path toward greater profitability. Thus, time evolves naturally within consciousness. It delivers the fundamental organizing technology that enables the decrease in entropy, winds up the digital springs that fuels, runs, drives, and enables everything else within an advanced Aeon digital system. Time is fundamental to the existence of our reality, while space is a virtual perception based upon time and the constraint C. As consciousness evolves, its energy spring continues to wind up as its entropy decreases. In contrast, within our PMR subsystem, the energy spring, energy that is organized, structured, and able to do work, must slowly unwind as the experiment runs its course. Physicists refer to this natural physical matter reality, structural disintegration as the second law of thermodynamics. The second law is hailed as very bad long-term news for our local reality because traditional scientists have only little toes. That music is universal to all cultures and most creatures and evokes a deep resonance within us seems reasonable enough when you consider that our consciousness, our being, undeniably our entire reality is constructed of rhythm and pattern. Take a moment to ponder the deep connection we have with our reality. Try to think of a few big thoughts. Your choice. Go ahead. I'll wait. You might toy with the idea of having an original insight toward developing your personal big toe. Take your time. Then, when you are done, heave a deep sigh of silent resignation and appreciation of your limitations. But don't give up. Both you and Aom have to start from wherever you are and pull yourself up by your own experiential bootstraps. That is simply how consciousness evolution works. And this is the last paragraph of this chapter. We made it. Consciousness evolution rarely progresses through a process of successive epiphanies without a great deal of work and personal change taking place in between. Significant entropy reduction is accomplished through an iterative. I ain't gonna look it up. I'm ready to be done. I'm gonna spell it for you. Iterative. Iterative. Okay. Significant entropy reduction is accomplished through an iterative process that slowly accumulates a large number of nearly infinitesimal profitable choices to produce significant growth. Trying to grow your consciousness in great leaps is likely to impede progress by distracting you from the hundreds of small profitable choices you have the opportunity to make every day. Your consciousness quality rises and falls based upon the intent that animates your everyday interactions. Claude, have mercy. We are done with chapter 31. Okay, I can kind of sum up this last sentence that I wrote, that I read. Okay, so if you intend to grow in leaps and bounds, you can't just be here at point A and jump to T tomorrow. It's a gradual process. You have to make those little decisions every single day, and eventually you'll find yourself at point T. But you can't jump from A to T, right? Starting here, a baby coming out, a baby can't jump from coming out the womb to driving a car. There are many steps and years and time that needs to pass before you can get to this point where you can legally, where nobody will look at you like you crazy, do this, right? So that's the process of growth, and all those scientific terms, to where, like, if I had to teach a class, I wouldn't have stood here and read this to the class. I would have found a video. I'm that teacher pushing in that big block TV screen, watching a video today, y'all. Pop in the tape. There we go, right? Everybody loved the day when the TV come out. I'm that teacher. I push out the TV every day. I'm like, let's watch cartoons today. I'm gonna create another test just to make sure y'all get it. We ain't gonna learn all these big terms, but at least you go get the concept of it, right? Lord help me, y'all pray for me. All right, y'all. So that is it. Look, we're gonna be done with this. We got 32, 33, 34. 3 chapters left. But chapter 32 is literally 3 pages. Chapter 33 is literally 2, 4, 6 and a third pages, and chapter 34 is a page and a half. We could possibly finish that in a day, right? But depending on the tablets, we'll just keep it like a chapter a day. We'll be done with it. We'll be done with this in 3 days, right? So when we're done with this, what's today? Monday, Friday. Remember, we're not gonna hop right to the meditation book. I want to read y'all that ancient wisdom book, right? It's really thin. I got it on my I can't find my hardback. I got a hardback, but I got the Kindle as well. I ordered another one, but I don't think it's gonna be here in time. So I'm gonna read it from my Kindle. Y'all have got to hear this if y'all haven't downloaded it already or listen to it. It's on Audible. You can get the printed version and you can look at it in the Kindle. But I'm gonna squeeze that in because once we get into this meditation book, which gives you a more, this was good, but if I halfway kept your attention with this, we're definitely going to keep your attention with this, right? And the way the Egyptians talk about meditation, he was talking about meditation and how the brain works, right? So this is one area. We're still looking at meditation, how the physical body works, how you connect to the source of power, how we connect to Yah. But this, it's giving you the same information, but from a different perspective. And it breaks down some things in a way that this doesn't. But it's all like the same information, but it'll help you get a more clear understanding. You know how you hear something the first time, but you hear somebody else explain it and you understand it a little bit better than what the first one explained. Then you hear it the third time. It's like, oh, okay, so I remember hearing that. So this is what they were saying. That's how it is when we read this. It's amazing. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the reading for today. It is Monday, March the 28th, 2022. Day 67 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1085. We read Tablet T in the complete Annunaki Bible, and we finished chapter 31 in my big toe. Pages 269 to, what's the last page? 274. All right, y'all. That's it for today. Father, we thank you for letting us make it to the end of this chapter. That's my prayer for today. Bless everybody as they go about the day. Bless everything they do and everything that their hand touches. If they are in need of anything, provide it for them at the right time. That's what I say, at the right time. Because some things we need, we might not be able to handle it right at this moment. But when the opportune time comes and we're ready for it, then that's my prayer for you, that you will receive it at that time. Not before, because it could destroy you. And not after, because it might be too late. But right when you're ready, when the time is right, right? May y'all bless the work of your hands. All right, y'all. And that's it for today. Thank y'all for hanging out. What you say, Trina? Time is ticking. All right, y'all. We're at the hour mark today. All right, I love y'all. We out of here. I see y'all back here tomorrow, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Bye, y'all. My phone just fell on the floor.